Who would win? Every being in the wasteland? Or a very hungry mailman? Welcome to Fallout New Vegas, a game where you survive a nuclear wasteland, engage in careful diplomacy, and discover what matters on the inside. Where today, we are going to consume every unique NPC in the Mojave. From a lowly chem dealer to the president of the New California Republic. No one is exempt, everyone is delicious. Meet the wasteland's next top chef, Bobby Flay. But before I can turn the wasteland into the first ever cannibal census, I have to get shot in the head by Chandler from Friends. Somehow, I survive this, and wake up without pants in a strange man's home, where he claims to be a doctor, then diagnoses me with kamikaze. I'm afraid it's terminal. After that, we were greeted by the beautiful Arizona Mojave. Now normally, eating everyone in New Vegas should be as straightforward as walking into town, introducing yourself to the locals, and engage in fine dining. But we have two problems. One, the cannibal perk is not available to us till level 4. And our second but much larger problem, with roughly 373 named NPCs in New Vegas, there are a couple delicious but essential meals locked behind certain quest lines. And factions actually liking us. Because killing the wrong person too early could permanently lock me out of eating someone much more important. So for now, our immediate goal is to get the cannibal perk, requiring us to reach level 4. So we made our way to Sunny Smiles to begin the tutorial. But what Sunny didn't know is that my body is a machine that turns dead geckos into XP, and scorpion stings into reloaded checkpoints. So I headed to Prim to clear out the escaped convicts, leaving us with only a small amount of XP needed. Luckily, I knew exactly who could help us.
Hello there.
I believe this is the first recorded instance of a meal delivering itself. But I'm not one to complain about a 5-star delivery. With the cannibal perk acquired, there was only one thing left to do. Eat everyone. Well, almost everyone. Because despite my overwhelming desire to immediately eat a man while his friend is busy shooting my spinal column, some meals would have to wait. Instead, we should have to start somewhere a little less important. And that means back to Good Springs. Where, on my way there, I engaged in the exciting American pastime of hunting the homeless for sport. Entering the bar, we find the owner being harassed by a violent criminal, and learn that this whole situation was a giant misunderstanding between a traitor named Ringo and the gangs. So, looking to resolve the situation peacefully, I make my way to the gas station where Ringo was hiding, and offer to play a game of Caravan for the fate of the town.
Don't worry. I'm not that good of a player.
Okay, I may have overreacted just a tiny bit. With my gambling addiction resolved, it was time to save Good Springs, following a completely unrelated series of tragic accidents. From Chet experiencing landmine explosive diarrhea, to Doc Mitchell being assassinated in his own home and cannibalized on the floor. Unfortunate, really. Which meant to save the town of Good Springs, everyone would have to die. The settlers, the powder gangers, and even Joe Cobb. Because all of this fighting has made me hungry. And with our first town successfully converted into locally sourced cuisine, it was finally time to introduce ourselves to the rest of the Mojave. So naturally, our first stop was prison. Specifically, the NCR Correctional Facility, inhabited by hardened criminals. Which was perfect, because after helping Good Springs, they already liked me. Turns out, friendship has limits. Specifically somewhere between hello and consuming their flesh on a tile floor. I'm not sure where that line is, but I think I'm getting close. After this, we made our way to the town of Nipton, where I tactically put down what I can only imagine was a male prostitute, before entering one of the ruined buildings and being greeted by a man named Boxcars, or as he introduced me,
The powder ganger's Grim fucking Reaper.
He asks us for drugs on account of his legs being broken by the Roman cosplayers residing in town, who have introduced the townsfolk to a new form of suntanning in the Arizona Mojave, a fascinating technique that's best observed from a distance. So to help him, I drop my only Med-X on the ground, dangle it in front of his face, then inject it into my arm right in front of him.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Now after enjoying gourmet dinner of bludgeoned criminal, we only had one thing left to deal with before leaving Nipton, introducing ourselves to the Legion. After the explosions, I noticed one powder ganger had somehow survived. I briefly considered putting him out of his misery, but I need someone here to tell future visitors about my good deed. But for now, the easy meals were over, because if I wanted to become the Mojave's greatest chef, there were 4 meals that mattered more than every other person in the wasteland. Our first target was hidden inside the NCR safe house. There was just one tiny problem. To get inside, the NCR actually had to like me, which meant I had to become a productive member of society. So naturally, I applied for a government job. Our first task was to find a spy secretly sending information to the Legion. And by asking around, find out that this control tower full of communications equipment was being broken into every night. Very suspicious. So, waiting till the middle of the night, I enter the tower to discover our spy was absolutely delicious. But before Curtis decided to become the Mojave's best airline food, he had planted a bomb on the monorail leading to the city. And we were the only ones fast enough to stop it, is what I would say. Because when I went to defuse the bomb, I forgot to grab the activation code from Curtis's body. And I'm too stupid to be able to disarm the bomb any other way. Well, I'm sure the damage won't be that bad. I returned to Colonel Shu, who in his grief at the failure to stop a terrorist,
God damn it.
paid me anyways. Fellas, this is what we call job security. Because I'm now valuable enough to get more job offers, but not too valuable that they start asking for charity. Apparently, the NCR wasn't discouraged at my lack of stopping a bombing. So instead, they tasked me with political assassination. Okay, it's not as bad as it sounds. I just have to find a highly aggressive drug addict, shoot him a couple times, then carefully remove his head as proof. This unfortunately kills the fiend in the process. Returning to Camp McCarran, the NCR seemed impressed at my ability to decapitate the homeless, preserve the head, and deliver it to them like a fancy wasteland meatball. So, to gain more of their trust, they gave me the task of hunting down a man named Motor Runner inside of Vault 3. Getting inside wasn't the hard part, because when I walked in, I tripped and accidentally dismembered 7 people at the door. I also found a group of people being held hostage. They asked me for help and even offered a reward if I freed them. So naturally, when offered the remains of their decomposing friend in the corner, I got a little excited. And let me tell you, never excite a man with a handheld chainsaw. It can get messy. After this, I found Motor Runner and introduced him to both barrels of shotgun diplomacy. You may see the fiends as a bunch of aggressive psychopathic drug addicts, and while that may be true, their chair quality is absolutely immaculate. With my reputation with the NCR skyrocketing, I return to Camp McCarran, and Colonel Shu rewards us with a key to the NCR Ranger safe house. So to claim my state-sponsored meal, I traveled near Goodsprings to begin my trip there, where I noticed a sign warning of dangerous creatures roaming the area. It's a shame I can't read, because that drawing of a gecko is fantastic. Newsflash, that was not a gecko. You know, maybe putting a safe house in the middle of Deathclaw territory and gifting me the key means they might still be mad about that whole monorail thing. But I was determined to make it there. 8 quick saves later. Finally arriving at the safe house, we met our first target, Ranger Gomez, and enjoyed one of the best meals in the Mojave. That takes care of one of the 4 safe houses. And next on the menu are the followers of the apocalypse. The followers are a collection of doctors and scientists who provide humanitarian aid to the people of the wasteland. A noble goal. Also, according to their wiki, their ideology is anarcho-pacifism. They had me at the first half. The second half? Well, I'm still working on that. They are also the faction with the highest reputation requirement, requiring us to be idolized by them. Which means to gain their trust, we were going to need to help the people of Freeside. First, we needed to help 2 people kick their drug addiction. Now fellas, what do you think is the best way to help a drug addict? Well, that question would take me straight to the source, the dealer. And I needed to start from a position of strength, so I bought all of his drugs, while also selling him a shovel. This was a subtle message for what would happen if he didn't stop selling chems. That, and I shot him with a missile launcher. I believe our message was heard loud and clear. And the followers seemed impressed at my strategy for preventative healthcare. Unfortunately, saving lives just wasn't enough. They also wanted charitable donations, which sounds reasonable, until you realize the best way to gain reputation is to hand them over one at a time.
Thanks. Anything else? Thanks. Anything else? Thanks. Anything else? Thanks. Anything else?
After over 20 donations and my brain leaking out of my ears, the followers finally trusted us enough and we were awarded the key and this fancy doctor's coat. Now we can make our way to their safe house, because if a ranger wasn't an issue, surely a doctor can't be that difficult to eat. I finally arrived at the follower's safe house, just in time to watch the doctor leave. I follow outside and she's nowhere to be found. Well, that's fine, I can just wait until she returns. 5 days of sleeping later. Well, shit. 4 more days of sleeping later. Okay, this is getting absurd. I have been living inside this safe house for over a week with nothing to show for it. And I will get this meal, even if it kills me.
Morning.
That's 2 down, 2 to go. Unfortunately, my culinary tour of the Mojave had run into a small problem. The Brotherhood still refused to let strangers through the front door, and the Legion were currently expressing their opinion of me through attempted murder, which only left one option. Gambling. We finally arrived at New Vegas, a shining monument to wealth, luxury, and people I hadn't eaten yet. But we were here for one specific reason. To recover the platinum chip I failed to deliver after the minor inconvenience of dying. It's probably just a coincidence the man who shot me in the head is also in possession of it. Now, I'm a reasonable man, and I'm not one to hold a grudge. But half a dozen landmines do not discriminate. With the platinum chip secured, we meet Yes Man. But he's not really the important part. I just intimidated him by dangling his deceased boss in front of him until he got the message. No, what we're looking for is when we exit the tops. We meet Ilario, a Legion messenger sent with one very important announcement, informing us all of our crimes against the Legion are forgiven. Apparently murder in broad daylight comes with a one-time forgiveness policy. Let's hope it works twice. With our business on the strip temporarily concluded, I decide to celebrate my success by getting a job as a security guard for a reputable establishment. Now, I just have to be on the lookout for bad patrons. Well then. Turns out, letting a suicide bomber inside your workplace on the first day is seen as a bad thing. Because now, my boss is dead, my coworker is dead. Okay, that one may have been my fault. And worst of all, my retirement plan is an absolute ruin. So, I drowned my sorrows by having the king for dinner. With my brief career in private security behind me, there was only one billionaire left on the strip worth visiting. Mr. House, self-proclaimed ruler of New Vegas. He first congratulated me, then bargained with me, then threatened me.
I spent 2 centuries searching for the platinum chip. It's my invention, my property, mine!
Unfortunately, Mr. House was making one fatal mistake. Negotiating with a chef. After a couple password-protected terminals and getting turned into Swiss cheese by the automated security, we made it to Mr. House's underground facility. You see, Mr. House is actually one of those frozen TV dinners. All we need to unthaw the delicious wrinkles is a little bit of heat. With Mr. House officially off the menu, Yes Man quickly volunteered to take over the Lucky 38 and gave us our next objective. Apparently, if I wanted to decide the future of New Vegas, I'd first have to make some new friends. By meeting the various tribes across the Mojave to understand if they could be allies or desert. Our first stop was Nellis Air Force Base, home of the Boomers, a group of isolationists who solve every problem with high explosives, including their own children. Fortunately for me, I met George, who was willing to explain how to safely cross the artillery field, provided I accept his bet.
I'll be here watching, so I'll know if you've made it to the gate or not.
Unfortunately for George, I found a faster method. Having him lead the way. This plan was met with a limited amount of success. Alright, plan B. Take lots of drugs, then run for the fence. Which actually worked. Reaching the gate, we are taken to their leader, who asked us to help with various quests around the base. We first started by dealing with an ant problem inside their armory, preferably without shooting the artillery shells located inside. Learned that one the hard way. Saved the lives of many injured boomers by handling their surgery my way. Lastly, I was asked to unite Jack with the woman of his dreams. So, I went to her workplace and confidently assured her she's been given permission to enter the base. Ah, young love. With the Boomers befriended, their leader thanked me for everything I have done, promising that if I ever needed their help, they would be there for me. Naturally, I assumed that included permission to loot the place, an action Pearl found to be rather distasteful. Now, technically this was all self-defense. She attacked first. As for the rest of Nellis, it's a little hazy. I remember a hallway, a power fist, and about 20 less boomers than when I arrived. After getting properly acquainted with the boomers, our next target was hidden inside the Brotherhood of Steel safe house. However, their recruitment process was slightly more aggressive than the NCR, because much like working at an Amazon warehouse, the interview process begins with a bomb around my neck. To prove I wasn't a spy, they sent me to deal with an NCR ranger investigating nearby. Now in the briefing, they didn't specify how to deal with the ranger once I met him, so I decided on the subtle approach. Then had a quick meal, enjoying the soothing sounds of the wasteland. Turns out the caller also had a microphone, and believe it or not, they still trusted me, having the honor of doing exciting tasks such as walking, collecting junk off of dead bodies, and most exciting of all, conversation with my fellow worker. While doing these tasks, I ended up back in Nipton and decided to check the general store, only to find my favorite meal had somehow returned.
What is it this time?
And I'm not one to waste such a gracious gift. Eventually, the Brotherhood trusted me, awarding us the key to their safe house, and offering to give me power armor training if I could complete for them a highly dangerous quest. Now, there was just one final stop before leaving Brotherhood territory, and this time, I wasn't taking any chances. Just making absolutely certain. With 3 targets down, there was only one meal remaining. Veteran Atticus of the Legion. Which meant it was finally time to visit the fort. I wasn't entirely sure how this meeting would go, because if I wanted to access our final target, I first had to get on Caesar's good side. So to prepare, I presented him with a laminated copy of my previous workplace experience, including my failure to stop domestic terrorism, not once, but twice. And after carefully reviewing my qualifications, hired us anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in. With my new employment secured, Caesar immediately sent me on my first assignment, destroy an underground army of Securitron robots, which in hindsight probably wasn't the smartest decision, but I'm sure Yes Man will understand. Next, Caesar wanted us to meet with the White Glove Society, a wealthy organization famous for their refined taste. Caesar wanted them as allies, while we had a greater goal, to show them our signature cooking technique. I call it napalm broiled. With negotiations complete, Caesar had one final favor before handing us the key we need: assassinate the president. Now that doesn't sound like too hard of a task, and those sirens are new. Okay, after talking to some fine gentlemen at the door, I think I should specify. Our target is President Kimball, arriving at Hoover Dam to give a speech, and he's being protected by dozens of highly trained soldiers. Enough so we would need a creative strategy to reach him. To which I can reveal my masterful 3-step plan to eliminate Kimball. Step 1. Walk into the visitor center and steal all of their Nuka-Cola. Step 2. Make my way to the nearby tower and silently take down the ranger guarding it. That's 2 down, 1 to go. Step 3. Drink 27 bottles of alcohol, then demonstrate my recipe for instant Kimball. Today, the NCR learned a valuable lesson: never mess with a seasoned chef. With the mission complete, I gathered everyone together and enjoyed a presidential buffet. Returning to Caesar, he congratulated me on dispatching President Kimball, finally awarding us the key to the Legion safe house, located near Nipton. Fast traveling there, I was greeted by the sight of my reliable food supply waiting for me. Finally arriving at the Legion safe house, it was time. 4 safe houses, 4 meals, and 1 happy chef. At this point, I had completed every favor for Caesar, secured the final safe house, and claimed my delicious meal, which meant there was only one thing left the Legion could offer: lunch. Returning to the fort, the guard demanded I surrender every weapon I owned. So I did. Apparently, nobody thought to confiscate the pile 3 feet away, which meant I could finally do the one thing I wanted ever since meeting Caesar. Huh. I expected the view to be a bit better. That just leaves 2 tribes for us to meet. First up were the Great Khans. Unfortunately, my first attempt at diplomacy was interrupted by the greatest enemy in the Mojave. Thank goodness that'll never happen again. I love New Vegas. Eventually, I managed to reach Papa Khan. Now normally, you would spend plenty of time earning a tribe's trust through carefully managed diplomacy. I, however, had a better solution. Now with the Great Khans befriended, that just leaves the Omertas, a powerful crime family secretly plotting to seize control of New Vegas, which meant there was only one way to stop them. We're going undercover. I needed to gather evidence, identify the leadership, locate their weapons. Everything depended on making it through the front door.
Hey, no one but Omertas are allowed to carry guns into Gomorrah. Check your weapons with me.
Somehow, he completely missed 4 pounds of plastic explosives, which admittedly made the rest of the investigation significantly easier. With the Omertas dealt with, that takes care of all of the minor factions, which meant there was only one thing left to do before Hoover Dam: eat absolutely everyone. With the Mojave properly seasoned, there was nothing left to prepare. No more tribes to meet. Just one Securitron, one chef, and a dam full of calories. Fighting my way through NCR Rangers, Legion Centurions, and the highly dangerous civilian workers, I make my way to the control room and install a control chip, granting Yes Man the ability to control the Securitrons that I blew up. Well, can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs and a couple war crimes. After carving my way through Hoover Dam, I finally came face to face with Legate Lanius.
You are the courier Lord Caesar has spoken of. The slaughter begins then.
Except, he thought I was still working for the Legion, despite his boss now being classified as a Caesar salad, and being able to personally witness his bodyguards join the New Vegas space program. Either this man is the world's best gaslighter, or the fabric of reality was crumbling. After our conversation ended, the screen fades to black in an effort to save him. But I didn't come all this way to be denied my meal so easily.
Generate.
After the message was finally received, the Legate and I had the duel of the century. With the Legion gone, General Oliver arrived to congratulate us. Unfortunately for him, there was still one final name to cross off. So, before our final duel, I open up my Pip-Boy, develop several new drug addictions, and lastly, consume 100 pounds of human flesh. Because, General Oliver, the truth is, the game was rigged from the start. And with that, we had successfully become the Wasteland's finest chef, consuming every faction, every competitor, and every obstacle in our way. There was no one left to challenge our title. Yes Man interrupts our meal and congratulates us on our fine achievement, informing us he will be temporarily offline to reprogram his personality. I'm sure nothing bad will come of that.